Welcome. This lesson is very similar to the last lesson, except we're doing cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So just remember, the cosecant is basically the sine function flipped upside down. So it's hypotenuse over opposite. The secant function is just the cosine function flipped upside down, or it's hypotenuse over adjacent. And the cotangent is the tangent flipped upside down, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then 30 degree. Have these two special right triangles written down. 30 degrees. We're doing cosecant. So I always start with the sine and flip it, but the sine is 1 over 2, or opposite over hypotenuse, but the cosecant's hypotenuse over opposite, so it's just going to be 2. Remember, a 45-degree angle is pi fourths, so write that down if you need to. Maybe I'll do that right now. So remember, a 45 is pi fourths, so when we get to the radian measure, the pi 30 degrees is pi sixths, 60 degrees is pi thirds. So when you get to radians, you'll know which these special right triangles to use. And again, that's all we're going to be doing. So go back and write those down if you haven't. Secant of 45. Secant of 45 is going to be not opposite, or sorry, not adjacent over opposite, but it's opposite over adjacent, not opposite. Wow, I know my secant. Again, I got to think. Secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's going to be the square root of 3, square root of 2, it's a 45-degree angle, square root of 2 over 1, and so I just type in the square root of 2. Again, just use those triangles, have them written down in front of you. If you try to remember them in your head, you're going to mess up, just like me, right? Usually if I was taking a test, I would actually take the time to quickly write it down. 60 degrees, that makes this 1, this square root of 3, this 2, and then I'm doing cotangent. Cotangent is not opposite over adjacent, it's adjacent over opposite, so it's 1 over the square root of 3, but now I need to rationalize the denominator, so I multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3 to get the square root out of the denominator, and my final answer is a fraction with a square root of 3 on top and a single 3 on bottom. Again, I'm hoping you pick this up fairly quickly. Here's a radian measure. Pi 6 is 30 degrees. So again, I just quickly write down this 30-degree angle here. Square root of 3 is down here. This is 2. There's no square root on the hypotenuse of the 30-60 right triangle. I'm doing secant, which is the reciprocal of the cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so this will be hypotenuse over adjacent, or 2 over the square root of 3, which again, now I need to rationalize the denominator, so I multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. That gives me a fraction of 2 square roots of 3 on top, 2 times the square root of 3, and the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is a 3 on bottom. That is the secant of pi 6, or 30 degrees. Again, if you have struggles or need help, please bring your questions to class and I will go over it more in detail.